Hello to you all, welcome to RETV. My name's Paul Jeffrey, and yes, you are correct, this is a proper video that I'm doing, not a news item. Yes indeed, we're driving the 2020 DTM cars in RaceRoom Racing Experience. And I've got an absolutely shocking start, but more on that later. So, yes, DTM returns to R3E for the first time in many a while. Back in 2017, I think it was, the DTM licence expired for RaceRoom Racing Experience, and we all thought that's the last of the touring car slash prototype German touring car series in R3E, but thankfully it returns alongside an Esports series for the 2020 season that we're driving now. Released a couple of days ago in early, well, mid I suppose we're in now, September. Contains two different car manufacturers as per first lap pile-up, because the AI is not that great, to be honest with you. Contains two car manufacturers, BMW and Audi. Anybody who's a follower of the real world DTM will know that these cars are different from the last time they appeared in the game, as they now run to the Class 1 touring car regulations, which is a set of regs that ITR, who look after the DTM, Gerhard Berger, well, you'll remember from Formula 1, it's many different teams, Arrows, Ferrari, Benetton, etc, etc, McLaren, of course, don't forget, alongside Ayrton Senna quite famously. Berger brought in the Class 1 regs in the hopes that the DTM and the Japanese Japanese GT series will be able to do a little bit of crossover. So Super GT in Japan also runs a slightly modified version of the Class 1 regs, and the intention was that they'll be able to do some crossover races together. The Japanese manufacturers will be able to head over in DTM in Europe, bring their cars, and vice versa. And towards the end of 2019, before the World Health Pandemic kicked in, we actually saw a couple of crossover races. One at this very track at Hockenheim, with a few select GT cars from Japan involved, and DRS, and a race at Fuji Speedway where a few of the DTM regulars went over there as well to compete alongside each other. Sadly, Class 1 hasn't took off as the DTM intended. The cars are awesome, as you can well see, and you'll have seen in the real series. The racing is fantastic, but manufacturer interest has dwindled in the championship, unfortunately. Only a couple of years ago we had the likes of Mercedes and separately Aston Martin through the R Motorsport outfit, but sadly Mercedes left the championship, and then at the end of 2019 R Motorsport confirmed they wouldn't be returning for this year, and now with only BMW and Audi left on the table, sadly Audi has decided to pull the plug on its programme as well, which leaves DTM in a bit of a sticky position for 2021. The likelihood is that DTM as we know and love it will no longer exist at the end of this current season. So these cars, well, the AI is awful in this game. These cars will not be continuing, but they'll probably go around a GT3 sort of unlimited regulation set is what the wise money's on, although we don't quite know yet, and we're still waiting for more information on what DTM will look like going forward. Might be interesting, GT3 regs, as Germany, where predominantly the DTM is based, already has the well-established ADAC GT Masters Championship that run to national GT3 regulations. So quite how that's going to work, I'm not entirely sure. But the good news for virtual fans of motorsport is these cars will remain usable and playable thanks to Sector 3 Studios and RaceRoom Racing Experience. So the 2020 cars now join the existing 15, 16 and 17 season, the previous models within the category, which is great. And another beautiful thing is RaceRoom pretty much has all the tracks thanks to the previous DTM releases that was in the sim. So you can recreate this and previous year's championships within RaceRoom. There's also some historic DTM cars within the sim as well, so a great time for fans of what I personally think is an absolutely wonderful category. So, there you go, that's a pot of history of the DTM. But it's 2020, so now these cars are in R3E. There's an Esports Championship, as always in RaceRoom, that is free to enter. There's some epic prizes as well, so you can find out all about that within the RaceRoom software. They feature these cars. Have been done on DRS into T1, because I'm too busy talking. I keep forgetting there's DRS and push to pass. So we'll allow that driver past. Philip Eng's also had a go in the BMW. And these cars are purchasable now, so you can race them in the competitions for free, but you can also own them as single player content, or obviously online if you go into a lobby that's hosting them. They're available to purchase, and quite frankly, they're beautiful. They're absolutely gorgeous. RaceRoom has come a long way in the last 3 or 4 years. There's a lot of additional features and simulation aspects to the title that have been brought in by Alex Hodgkinson, who's predominantly the physics guru over at Sector 3, and the other boys and girls at the studio as well. So it is, if you've not picked up RaceRoom for a year or so, or even a few months, I highly suggest you give it another try, because it's turning into quite the piece of content. As I press DRS again, maybe a little bit too late, compromise myself on corner exit, but we just managed to keep Ferdinand Hasberg behind us as we're fighting for the poor 15th place. I've not done a proper video, full stop. But I've not done something where I'm talking and driving for a very long time, so forgive the shoddy driving. And I'd like to say I went on last night to do some much needed practice in these cars, and I totally didn't get sidetracked and go in TCR, which is my favourite category. So yeah, I'm a little bit short on experience in these machines. So apart from them being class 1 regulation cars, which is bigger wings, more aerodynamics, more powerful turbocharged engines compared to what we've had previously, what else is new? Well, I said it's got the BMW. Oops, DRS. Oh, I've got no DRS left, damn. BMW and Audi are represented in the car pack. Also, there's the P2P functionality, push to pass, that follows the real-world regulations of the DTM Championship. It's been brought in to Sim. So you'll see on my dashboard, just below DRS, I've got a green P2P icon. Got a button map for that, so that gives me a little bit extra horsepower alongside DRS as well to help effect an overtake. I need more than a little bit of extra horsepower apparently. Maybe a little bit enthusiastic to suggest that 103% difficulty for my first token drive in months in a car that I'm not familiar with maybe wasn't a great idea. So these cars, unlike the TCRs, which are firmly my favourite, these are very downforce laden cars. They're basically a Formula 1 car with a shell on. So maximum speed into corner entry, let the downforce keep the car sucked to the tarmac, are all keys to going quickly. And they're all incredibly difficult when you're talking and driving as well, unfortunately. But anyway, it is what it is. Careful of the sausage curb. There's a pile-up. We'll have that. Thank you very much. There you go. Makes the spaces up quite nicely. I've had to, honest admission time, I've had to restart this video 2 or 3 times now because there's some spicy opening lap AI even behaviour. So yeah, I don't do the AI learning that is available, and by all accounts it's very, very impressive in R3E, purely because I just don't have the time to be teaching them and giving them the laps they need to get on a par, because my sim racing sadly nowadays is very limited. Anyway, sub-story, silence yourself Paul, let's talk about the cars. As you would expect from a piece of Sector 3 / RaceRoom Racing Experience content, these cars sound the dog's bananas. Really nice audio. There's been some audio improvements of late to the simulation as well. So they've got some new samples in, some slightly more dynamic sounds are in as well. So you've got a little bit more life. Believe it or not, there's actually more life you can get out of it, because I thought the audio was practically perfect as it was. There's a little bit more life, a little bit more realism, a little bit more depth, a little bit more immersion in the audio of these cars, and they do sound, on and off board, absolutely the business. First class, as always. 3D model wise, you can see yourself from the onboard camera. The cockpit is very nicely detailed indeed. Big step up from the original DTM cockpits of the old cars. You can see we've got the LCD rear camera display that's new for the 2020 regulations compared to what we've driven before. The nice dash, it's got all the data one could possibly desire. Let's use push to pass, why not? It's got all the data you could desire, and you can change through and flip through the different pages as well. We're riding on board, of course, in the Robert Kubica BMW, because everyone loves Robert Kubica, don't they? Even though he's having a nightmarish season, driving somewhat like I am now, by the looks of it, in his first year of DTM racing, following his exit from Williams. Talking about the car content itself, the force feedback is absolutely lovely, as is the want of RaceRoom Racing Experience recently. They, probably about a year ago or so now, they brought a big force feedback and physics update out across the board, and they continue to update physics historic content within the sim as well. And for me, force feedback now, or certainly on my direct drive wheel, is beautiful. So the car feels really lively, really communicates with me what it's doing. You can't tell from the way I'm driving, but trust me, when I'm not talking to the camera at the same time and it's not 12 o'clock at night, I am like tiredest. I am the tiredest person in the history of the world today. I'm as tired as a tired person, going to a tired person shop and buying tired pills. I am shattered. It's been a long day, so forgive me if I'm not on form, but I wanted a reason to get on the rig, and I thought this, ladies and gentlemen, will hopefully be interesting to people and a good reason to get me racing. So, 3 minutes and exactly left on the clock. What else can I talk about? Physics, great. Force feedback, fabulous. Handling, beautiful. Sounds, as you would expect, out of this world. The 3D model is fantastico. The AI, not bad. Not spectacular, but not bad. Maybe if I drove a little bit more realistically and sensibly, I'd get a better experience from it, but there's been a few instances and I've just been hit from behind. As I'm talking about the AI, I get pinged from behind by somebody. Annoying. So, with all that said, do I like these cars? Yes. Am I glad they are in RaceRoom Racing Experience? Ooh, incredibly so. Are they value for money? Yep. Do I enjoy the experience? For sure. Do I recommend them? Without any shadow of a doubt. Absolutely delighted to see the DTM return to RaceRoom Racing Experience. I think the sim does a really good job with this type of cars. I think R3E is at its strongest with touring car type content. In particular the TCRs, which I spoke about a little bit earlier on. The TCR cars for me are by far and away the best experience in RaceRoom Racing Experience. So yeah, really impressed. And without further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut up and I'm going to finish the last 1 minute and 20 seconds or so of this race, turn my face cam off and let you just watch and listen to these fabulous cars in action. So yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. I'll not do the outro bit now, I'll do it now, not at the end. My name's been Paul Jeffrey, this has been RDTV. We've been test driving, whoa, pile up, rivet, what the hell? This has been RDTV. We've been trying out brand new 2020 DTM cars for RaceRoom Racing Experience. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you don't, or you do, or you're in the middle and you're not sure, so what? Just give us a like and a subscribe. Go on, spread the love. You know I enjoy it. So until next time, thanks very much for tuning in, and I'll catch you later. Bye bye.